black swan event where we say it's very unlikely for a spaceship to arrive at our backyard, but nevertheless, we should keep that as a possibility because the implications would be huge.
October 29th, 2025, 11:47 Universal Time. This is unbelievable. The interstellar object 3I Atlas, contrary to scientists' predictions, survived a collision with one of the most powerful solar plasma ejections of this cycle. It just happened. Right now, as you hear these words, 3 Atlas has completed its closest approach to the sun, Perihelion, 203 million kilometers from the solar surface. Hidden behind the blinding glare where no telescope on Earth can observe it. For those critical hours, an object the size of Manhattan Island, traveling at 60 kilometers per second, rounded our star in complete darkness, and we have no idea what occurred. But here's what we do know. We're not waiting months for answers anymore. We're not waiting years. We have 90 days. 90 days of the most intense astronomical observation in human history. Because 3 Atlas, the most anomalous interstellar object ever detected, is about to enter a sequence of encounters that will force the truth into the open. Whether it's natural or artificial, whether it's a comet or something else, whether we're alone or being watched. The countdown has begun, and this is the story of what happens next.
2 weeks ago, I realized the arrival direction of 3A Atlas was within 9 degrees of the WOW signal that was detected in 1977, which was an enigmatic, powerful radio signal that definitely came from outside of this Earth. We don't know from where. It was coming from a source that was approaching the sun, and the chance of it aligning with the arrival direction of 3A Atlas is 0.6%.
This is not about what we saw in July. This is not about Hubble images from August. This is about right now, today, October 29th through January 10th, 2026. 90 days that will either confirm our comfortable assumptions or destroy them completely. 90 days when 3 Atlas will be observed by spacecraft, monitored by telescopes worldwide, and potentially revealing itself in ways that make denial impossible. Welcome to the final act. Welcome to the ultimatum. Let's start with what just happened at Perihelion. Because understanding the next 90 days requires understanding what occurred in the last few hours, or what might have occurred. 3I Atlas reached Perihelion at exactly 203 million kilometers from the sun, approximately 1.36 astronomical units. That's closer than initially predicted, much closer, and at that distance, with solar radiation at maximum intensity, 3 scenarios become possible. 3 futures branching from this single moment. And which one we're experiencing depends entirely on what 3I Atlas actually is. Scenario 1, it's a comet. Just an unusual, anomalous, deeply strange comet, but ultimately natural. In this scenario, 3I Atlas continues along its hyperbolic orbit exactly as gravity dictates. The trajectory is determined solely by the sun's mass and the object's velocity. Perihelion passes without incident. The object begins its long climb back out of the solar system, gradually fading as distance increases. We observe it through November and December. Europa Clipper samples its tail. Scientists analyze the data, and eventually we conclude it was natural all along. Just weird. This is what mainstream astronomers expect. This is the safe scenario. This is what lets everyone sleep comfortably. Scenario 2. It's artificial and it's going to Earth. This is the spine nightmare scenario. During perihelion, hidden from Earth-based observation, 3I Atlas executes what's called an Oberth maneuver, a powerful reverse thrust using the sun's gravitational field for efficiency. The object decelerates significantly, altering its trajectory to swing back toward Earth. This would require immense energy, a severe burn that would be detectable in post-perihelion observations. And if this happened, we'll know by Thanksgiving. Because by late November, if 3I Atlas hasn't appeared, where models predict if its trajectory has deviated toward Earth, if objects start appearing in our atmosphere that weren't there before, we'll know something executed a maneuver. And we'll have exactly 3 weeks until December 19th, when it reaches closest approach to our planet at 267 million kilometers. 3 weeks to prepare for whatever comes next. Scenario 3. It's artificial and it's going to Jupiter. This is the most probable scenario if 3I Atlas is technology. A slight acceleration at perihelion, using the sun's gravity for a slingshot boost toward the outer solar system. Not dramatic, not obvious, just a small course correction that redirects the object toward Jupiter and its moon system, Europa, Ganymede, Callisto. Perfect destinations for exploration if you're an interstellar probe investigating habitable environments. And this maneuver would be subtle enough that it might take weeks to detect. We'd see small deviations from predicted trajectory, unexplained acceleration, velocity changes that can't be attributed to natural outgassing. And by the time we confirmed it, 3I Atlas would already be committed to Jupiter encounter on March 16th, 2026. These aren't fantasies. These scenarios come from geophysicist Stefan Burns, who's been tracking 3I Atlas's orbital mechanics for months. And they're based on solid physics. Oberth maneuvers are real. Every interplanetary spacecraft uses them. Voyager, New Horizons, Juno. They all executed gravitational assist maneuvers to alter trajectories efficiently. If 3I Atlas is a probe sent by an intelligence that understands orbital mechanics as well as we do, then perihelion was the moment to act, and we just passed it. Blind, hidden behind the sun, unable to observe. Which raises the question Avi Loeb asked today on Fox News. Was the trajectory fine-tuned so that Earth-based observers would be blind during the critical moment? Is 3I Atlas a Trojan horse arriving in our solar system with something concealed inside? Let's talk about Avi Loeb, because what he published today, October 29th, in an essay titled The Acid Test of 3I Atlas at Perihelion, frames everything that comes next. Loeb is the former chair of Harvard's astronomy department, founding director of the Black Hole Initiative, the scientist who hosted Stephen Hawking at his home in 2016. He's not a fringe figure. He's not a UFO enthusiast. He's a rigorous physicist who's published over 1,000 scientific papers. And for the past year, he's been saying something the establishment refuses to hear. 3I Atlas exhibits characteristics that demand we consider artificial origins seriously. Not conclude it's artificial. Consider it. Investigate it. Test the hypothesis with evidence instead of dismissing it reflexively. And today, as perihelion occurred, Loeb laid out what he calls the fundamental question. Is 3I Atlas carrying something inside? Is it releasing mini probes during its journey through our solar system? And if so, will we detect them in the coming weeks? He's not speculating wildly. He's asking his research team at the Galileo project to monitor the 3 observatories they operate continuously: Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, and Las Vegas, where cameras atop the sphere scan the sky 24/7 looking for anomalous aerial phenomena. And he specifically asked them to watch for unusual activity in Earth's atmosphere over the next few months. Because if 3I Atlas is a mothership, if it's releasing smaller craft designed to investigate planets, then Earth's atmosphere is exactly where we detect them. December 19th, 2025. Mark that date, write it down, set a reminder. Because 6 days before Christmas, 3I Atlas reaches its closest approach to Earth at 267 million kilometers. That's 1.78 astronomical units. Still far away, no collision risk, but close enough for detailed observation from every major telescope on the planet. And close enough for something else, something Loeb mentioned in his essay, that should make everyone pay attention. He asked, will 3I Atlas send mini probes toward Earth as Christmas gifts to humanity? That's not a joke. That's not sensationalism. That's a scientist with access to orbital mechanics data asking if an interstellar visitor might deploy smaller craft during closest approach. Because if you're an alien civilization sending a probe to investigate emerging technological species, Earth, on December 19th, 2025, is exactly when and where you deploy reconnaissance assets, maximum scientific return, optimal positioning, perfect timing, and the Galileo project will be watching. 3 observatories, high-resolution cameras, machine learning algorithms designed to detect objects with performance characteristics beyond human technology. If something enters Earth's atmosphere in December that moves in ways aircraft and meteors cannot, the Galileo project will capture it. But before December, we have November. And November brings something extraordinary. Early November, 3I Atlas emerges from behind the sun. After weeks hidden in solar glare, the object becomes visible again to ground-based telescopes. And this is the critical observation window. Because if anything happened at Perihelion, if the object changed, if it executed maneuvers or released payloads or activated systems, we'll see the evidence in November. Scientists worldwide will be comparing post-perihelion observations to pre-perihelion data. They'll measure brightness, changes, spectral variations, trajectory deviations. They'll look for new structures, fragmentation, anomalous emissions, and they'll compare everything to computer models that predict what a natural comet should look like after perihelion. If 3I Atlas matches predictions, if it behaves exactly as models forecast, then the natural hypothesis is strengthened. But if it deviates, if something is different, if the post-perihelion object doesn't match the pre-perihelion object, then we have a problem. A beautiful, terrifying problem that demands explanation. And there's more. During November, ESA's JUICE spacecraft, currently en route to Jupiter, will observe 3I Atlas directly. JUICE carries instruments capable of measuring magnetic fields, plasma density, and particle composition. It won't get as close as Mars orbiters did on October 2nd, but it will provide independent verification of the object's properties. More data, more measurements, more evidence accumulating day by day. But here's where the story gets truly extraordinary. Because while November brings observation and December brings closest approach to Earth, January brings something that changes everything. Something that makes all the preceding months seem like prologue. An astronomical event so rare, so precisely aligned, that it demands we pay attention not just to 3 Atlas, but to the larger pattern it's participating in. January 6th through 10th, 2026. 5 days that will feature the most significant planetary alignment in modern history. And 3, Iatlas is positioned directly in the middle of it. Picture this: Mars, Venus, Mercury, Sun, Earth, Jupiter, all aligned along a single axis through space. Not perfectly collinear, because perfect planetary alignment never occurs, but close. Closer than we see in decades. All the inner planets and the gas giant heavyweight lined up like beads on a string. And 3, Iatlas, traveling through the asteroid belt at exactly that moment, participating in the alignment as if it was planned. January 9th, 2026 is the peak, the moment of maximum alignment. And when you map this configuration against the background stars, something impossible emerges. Something that makes the hairs on your neck stand up. The alignment vector points directly back to Sagittarius, the constellation 3 Iatlas emerged from, the region containing the center of the Milky Way galaxy, the source direction of the WOW signal, the zone containing maximum galactic mass and gravitational influence. This is not coincidence. This is geometry. This is orbital mechanics meeting cosmic architecture in a way that suggests design. Because if you were an advanced civilization wanting to send a probe to a planetary system, if you wanted that probe to arrive during a rare alignment that connects your origin point to the target system's geometric center, you would launch it billions of years in advance with trajectory calculations accounting for stellar motion, galactic rotation, and planetary orbital evolution. You would fine-tune the arrival so that the probe participates in a alignment that literally points back to where it came from. And that's exactly what we're seeing. The January 9th alignment is not just rare, it's resonant. Earth and Jupiter on one side, the 2 planets in our solar system with the strongest magnetic fields. Mercury, Venus, and Mars on the other side, the inner rocky worlds, adding their gravitational and electromagnetic influence. And 3 Iatlas in the asteroid belt, positioned almost perfectly within the alignment plane, with the entire configuration pointing back to Sagittarius, like an arrow showing its origin. Pluto is involved too. At the very beginning of Capricorn, Pluto sits adjacent to the vector 3 Iatlas flew in from. Not perfectly aligned, but close enough that when you draw the line from Jupiter through Earth through the Sun towards Sagittarius, Pluto marks the boundary like a signpost. And if that wasn't enough, we have outer planet involvement that makes this even stranger. Uranus and Sedna are heliocentric aligned. Sedna, the distant dwarf planet that takes 11,000 years to orbit the Sun, is currently near Perihelion at 76 astronomical units, and it's aligned with Uranus during this same window. Meanwhile, Saturn and Neptune are approaching their great conjunction in late February 2026, meaning they're also geometrically significant during January. This is a solar system-wide event, not just the inner planets, not just 3 Iatlas. Everything is participating. And the archetypal symbolism is impossible to ignore. Sagittarius, the constellation of exploration, adventure, higher learning, and spiritual seeking. Gemini, opposite Sagittarius, the constellation of technology, communication, and analytical thinking. The alignment connects these opposing forces during the greatest technological revolution in human history, as artificial intelligence transforms society and we face existential questions about our future. Some will call this astrology, some will call it pattern seeking, but patterns exist for reasons. And when an interstellar visitor with 7 confirmed anomalies arrives during a planetary alignment that occurs once per generation, pointing back to the exact region it came from, we don't have the luxury of dismissing it as coincidence. We have historical precedent for why these alignments matter. September 1859, the Carrington event, the most powerful solar storm ever recorded, generating auroras visible in the tropics and disrupting telegraph systems worldwide. And when that storm hit, when those devastating solar flares erupted, the planets were aligned. Not as perfectly as January 2026, but significantly. Earth, Mercury, Sun, Venus, Mars, Saturn. A bent line, but still geometrically significant. And it correlated with the strongest electromagnetic event in modern history. We don't fully understand how planetary alignments affect solar activity. Mainstream science dismisses the connection, but the correlations exist. The Carrington event had alignment. The 1921 solar storm had alignment. Multiple near-miss events in this solar cycle show geometric patterns. And January 2026 has alignment far more precise than any of those historical examples. If 3 Atlas is monitoring our sun, if it's equipped to measure solar activity and magnetic field changes, then the January alignment is exactly when you'd want maximum observational capability. Because if alignments trigger solar responses, if geometric configurations affect stellar behavior in ways we don't understand yet, then an intelligence studying our star would position their probe to observe during peak alignment. And that probe would be 3I Atlas. Let's compile everything we know, every anomaly, every correlation, every piece of evidence that makes this object different from every other interstellar visitor. Because the establishment keeps saying it's just a comet, nothing unusual, move along. But the anomalies don't disappear just because they're inconvenient. Anomaly 1, excessive mass. 33 billion tons with 0 non-gravitational acceleration despite mass loss. Probability of detecting something this massive, less than 1 in 10,000. Anomaly 2, trajectory alignment. Orbital path aligns with planetary plane to within 5 degrees, 1 in 500 probability. And travels in retrograde, ideal for probe deployment. Anomaly 3, nickel emissions. Pure nickel with minimal iron. Natural objects have equal ratios. Industrial aerospace alloys have this exact composition. Anomaly 4, forward-facing jet. Hubble captured a luminous beam pointed at the sun. Comets cannot physically do this. A 10-to-1 elongated emission like spacecraft exhaust. Anomaly 5, wow, signal correlation. Arrived from within 9 degrees of the 1,977 alien signal source. 0.6% probability. At transmission time, it was 3 light days from Earth, perfect distance for the observed signal. Strength. Anomaly. 6. Mars. Data suppression. HiRISE captured 30-kilometer resolution images on October 2nd. Best images ever taken. Remain unreleased. Government shutdown cited. Timing suspicious. Anomaly 7. January alignment. Arrives during rare planetary alignment, positioned within it, with configuration vector pointing back to Sagittarius, WOW signal source, and galactic center. 7 anomalies. Any one could be dismissed. All 7 together demand investigation. And over the next 90 days, we're going to get evidence that either explains them naturally or confirms they're artificial. The timeline is locked. The countdown is active. And here's what happens next. Day by day, week by week, through January 10th, 2026. Right now, October 29th through November 1st, Europa, Clipper, and Hera spacecraft pass through 3 IATLAS's ion tail. This is happening as you hear these words. Europa Clipper carries magnetometers and plasma instruments designed to measure particle composition and magnetic field disturbances. If the instruments detect ions with unexpected isotopic ratios, if the magnetic signature shows anomalies inconsistent with natural comets, if the data confirms industrial composition rather than natural formation, we'll know within weeks. This is humanity's first direct sampling of interstellar material, and the results could be definitive. Early November, ground-based observations resume as 3 IATLAS emerges from solar glare. Telescopes worldwide begin post-perihelion analysis. Brightness measurements, spectral analysis, trajectory calculations. Scientists compare observations to pre-perihelion data and computer models. If anything changed, if perihelion triggered responses or revealed structures or altered the object's properties, November observations will detect it. Mid-November, JUICE spacecraft observations. ESA's Jupiter probe monitors 3 IATLAS during its own journey to the outer solar system. More data, more measurements, independent verification of composition and trajectory. Late November, Oberth maneuver detection deadline. If 3 IATLAS executed a severe reverse thrust at perihelion to redirect toward Earth, we'll know by Thanksgiving. The trajectory deviation will be obvious, the acceleration will be measurable, and we'll have 3 weeks to prepare for whatever December 19th brings. December 19th, 2025. Closest approach to Earth, 267 million kilometers. Not close enough for danger, but close enough for detailed observation. Every major telescope on the planet will be watching. And if Loeb's hypothesis is correct, if 3 IATLAS is a mothership designed to deploy mini probes during closest planetary approaches, December 19th is the optimal moment. The Galileo project's 3 observatories will be monitoring continuously for anomalous aerial phenomena. High-resolution cameras, machine learning detection algorithms, real-time analysis of anything entering Earth's atmosphere with non-ballistic trajectories. January 6 TH10, 2026. The alignment. 5 days of geometric precision when Mars, Venus, Mercury, Sun, Earth, Jupiter, and 3 IATLAS form a configuration pointing back to Sagittarius. The peak occurs January 9th. And during those days, if 3 IATLAS is monitoring our sun, if it's equipped to measure solar activity during maximum planetary influence, This is when we might detect transmissions, trajectory changes, or other activities that reveal artificial origin. Late February 2026, Saturn-Neptune Great Conjunction. The outer planets complete their alignment following the January inner planet configuration. And throughout this period, 3I Atlas continues its journey, potentially revealing more evidence with each passing week. March 16th, 2026, Jupiter encounter. 3I Atlas reaches closest approach to the gas giant at just 54 million kilometers. The Juno spacecraft currently orbiting Jupiter will observe the object directly. Juno carries cameras and a radio antenna. If 3I Atlas transmits, if it communicates, with probes it potentially deployed, if there are electromagnetic signatures of artificial systems, Juno will detect them. This is the final checkpoint. The last major observational opportunity before 3I Atlas climbs out of the solar system permanently. 90 days. October 29th through January 10th, with March 16th as the final deadline. 3 months when every anomaly will be tested. 3 months when denial becomes harder to maintain. 3 months when we're either going to confirm 3I Atlas is just a very weird comet, or we're going to face the most profound revelation in human history. And here's the critical point. We can't wait passively. We can't just watch telescopes and hope for clear answers. Because the establishment has proven itself incapable of honest investigation when implications are uncomfortable. They suppressed Loeb's papers. They attacked his credibility. They locked away the Mars images. They'll continue denying evidence unless it becomes so overwhelming that denial is impossible. That's why the Galileo Project matters. Independent observation, independent analysis, data collected and published without institutional gatekeeping. 3 observatories monitoring the sky continuously. Machine learning algorithms detecting anomalies in real time. And a team of scientists led by one of the most credible astrophysicists alive, willing to follow evidence wherever it leads. If something enters Earth's atmosphere in December with non-ballistic flight characteristics, the Galileo Project will capture it. If 3 Atlas transmits during the January alignment, someone will detect it. If trajectory deviations prove Oberth maneuvers occurred, the data will be published. The truth is coming, slowly, carefully, through the patient accumulation of evidence that eventually overwhelms institutional resistance. But the public needs to pay attention, because this story will not be told honestly by mainstream sources. The media will frame it as controversy. Scientists will hedge with uncertainty. Institutions will delay and suppress. And by the time official confirmation arrives, if it ever does, years will have passed and the moment will have faded from public consciousness. Don't let that happen. Stay aware. Follow the data. Demand transparency. Push for release of the Mars images. Support independent research. And watch the sky in December and January, because something extraordinary is occurring. An interstellar visitor with impossible properties arrived during a rare planetary alignment and is positioned perfectly to reveal whether we're alone in the universe. The next 90 days will answer that question. Not definitively, perhaps, not with absolute certainty, but closer to truth than we've ever been. Closer to knowing, closer to facing reality instead of hiding behind comfortable assumptions. 3I Atlas came from somewhere. It's going somewhere. And for 3 months, starting right now, we have front row seats to watch what happens. When the most anomalous object ever detected passes through our solar system during the most significant planetary alignment in modern history. This is not speculation. This is observation. This is data. This is geometry and physics, and evidence accumulating in ways that demand we consider possibilities we've been trained to dismiss. Are we being visited? Is 3i Atlas artificial? Will December bring mini probes as Christmas gifts to humanity? Will January's alignment trigger solar activity or reveal transmissions or confirm what some scientists have been saying all along? We're about to find out. The countdown is active. Perihelion just passed. And the next 90 days will either confirm our lonely existence in a vast, empty cosmos, or they'll prove we were never alone at all. The universe is about to answer, and we're watching in real time as the truth moves closer. October 29th, 2025, the day everything changed, or the day everything stayed the same. But either way, we're closer to knowing than we've ever been. And the next 3 months will determine which story gets written into history. 3i Atlas is revealing itself. One encounter at a time. One observation at a time. One piece of evidence at a time. And by January 10th, 2026, when the alignment reaches peak precision and the object has been monitored continuously for 90 days, we'll have answers. Or we'll have more questions. But beautiful, terrifying, undeniable questions that change everything. The countdown has begun. Stay watching.